So this is our little still life we're shooting with some dinosaurs. All right, so if we're going to tether, now we know sort of what we want to take a tethered picture of. How are we going to do it? So I am using my trusty 5D Mark II. It's 100 years old. You are using whatever it is that you're using. We're also using Adobe Lightroom. There are a bunch of different ways that you can tether. There's a bunch of different programs you can use to tether. Lightroom's what we're using. You will, next semester, or next year, whenever the hell it is, I don't know, also get into using Capture One. Capture One is better, probably. It's also a lot more complicated. So using Lightroom right now is the best way to do it. If you know how to use Capture One already, I don't care. Go ahead and use Lightroom for this because it will make you smarter, and that's what we're all about. So how do we attach? I've also, like, my thing has like earrings on here. It's fantastic. How do we connect our camera to our computer? First thing, let's make sure that we have a battery. Did not even know. Have a battery in here? Yes, we do. It's good. Tethering to Lightroom, you are going to get a copy both on your camera and on your computer. That's going to be nice because that means you won't have to worry about sort of backing up anxiety. It does mean, however, that you need to have enough space on your card or whatever to be able to make the captures you need. Also your battery, right? Your battery is going to be sitting there running a lot. So make sure that you have enough power in your battery so that you don't have to sort of screw up the whole point of tethering by going and taking your camera apart and putting a new battery in. So how do we tether? First off, you need a tethering cable. I'm using this fancy one. Excuse me, I bought it 1,000 years ago, so it has only cost me $1 a year for the last 70 years instead of whatever it cost me initially. You'll notice that my tethering cable has this weird little black extension on the end of it. That's because I actually have a right angle connector at the end. I have this for various reasons that make my shooting universe a lot easier. You do not have one and do not need one, so do not worry about it. It doesn't change anything. All it does is make it go at a right angle. I use it because I have a second thing that allows me to fire my camera by pressing a button in a handheld doohickey, trigger, whatever. And so I need to have one of them going out of my camera one way and one of them going out of my camera the other way. Again, doesn't matter. All right, so this attaches, in my case, there's a little door over here. God, that rattling noise is annoying. There's a little door over here. I don't know if you can see that on the video. If I were cool and using my GoPro, then you could. There we go. So you can see a bunch of connectors in there. There's an HDMI out. There's a headphones, something, microphone? I don't know. But the middle one, in my case, is the USB connector, and that's what we're going to use. So yours will probably be different, right? I don't know how your camera connects, but it probably connects in a different fashion than mine with a slightly different plug. Figure out what it is that you need to plug your camera in. Right? Don't just be like, I don't know, that's what Brad had, so I bought one of those. Because if it doesn't work, I'm not going to care. Well, I mean, I will, but you know. All right, so I'm going to take that, I'm going to plug it in here. Boom. Am I now tethered? No, because the other end is still not plugged into anything. So I need to plug this other end into my computer. How do I do that? Well, my computer is brand new and my plug is very old, so I have to use this adapter thing. I don't know what you use. Something. I'm going to plug this into my laptop. All right. Then I'm going to take magic cord, plug that in there. Now, you can't see it until I lift it up. Ooh. So I have a little tab of Velcro on that attaches to the Velcro that I have on the back of my computer, because apparently I have a thing for Velcro. The reason that I have that on there, one of the biggest problems that we have with tethering is that you will sort of stress out, not yourself, but your camera. All of these things where we plug into our camera, plug into our computer, all these like points of entry, things plug in and then they wiggle around a little bit. And as they wiggle around, they are going to break something. So that's a real concern. It's a problem maybe less with the cameras that you have for yourself and more of a concern with the cameras that we have at school, because the cameras that we have at school are used not just by one person, but by a whole boatload of people, not all of whom are as competent as you are. So please, as you are going through and plugging things in, whatever, try to make sure that you don't put undue bendy pressure on your camera. When you were shooting at school, they have little things that can grab onto that cable and keep it from sort of getting pulled on. I'm going to go ahead and grab one that I have here. Hold on a second. Let me go into my basement. Okay, so I have to use my superhuman strength. These two little pieces, they go together and hold the cord between them. I'm going to walk over here out of camera and put that in there. So what it does is sort of keep you, when you trip over the cord, from yanking it out of the camera. It keeps it maybe a little bit from stressing the camera out, stressing that connection out. Does it really work? I don't know, but I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to get that port fixed, and I do need to keep shooting, so I have one on there. Probably not, but if one happens to fall off of the truck and land in your lap, go ahead and use it. Okay, so now I have my camera connected. What I want to do now is go ahead and set up Lightroom to do tethered shooting. So I'm going to go put my camera on a tripod and then I will be right back. Okay, I totally lied. I'm not going to put my camera on a tripod because I realized there are a couple of things I still need to be able to do. All right, so here the screencast has been chugging along for 10 minutes and I haven't done anything. I'm going to go here into Lightroom. You'll see that I have a new catalog called Tethered Test. You can shoot into an existing catalog. I really recommend, at least until you figure out what the hell you're doing, shooting into a new catalog specifically for tethering. Once I've got that here, what I'm going to do is come here to the File menu, come down to Shocking Tethered Capture. And all I have to do is go over here where it says Start Tethered Capture. Now my camera is turned on, which is important as it will have a hard time connecting up to anything if it's not turned on. If it is turned on, also make sure that it has not fallen asleep, right? When it falls asleep, connection. Studio session name. Not entirely convinced why I need to have a particular name for it, but call it Tether Test. Sure, why not? We need to have some sort of naming thing. I'm going to give it my standard PH153 naming. Location, no, for the love of God, not in pictures. Just like any other Lightroom catalog, we want to have our files go where our catalog is. Here we go. Tether Test, new folder. Oops. Should have called that raw. Cool. All right, so I have now navigated to the folder that I want images to go into. I hit choose, that's awesome. Naming, I'm going to go ahead and put custom name sequence so that I can, as ever, put a name that matches my catalog name, matches my raw folder name. It's doing a 1-digit sequence, that's not good enough. 3-digit sequence, I'll save this preset. You can tell I do not often shoot tethered to Lightroom on this laptop. So I normally would not have to go through and change these silly things. Great. Destination, we already chose. Metadata, you probably want to have your copyright metadata. You can put in keywords, right? Since we're shooting a thing, we can add those keywords as we shoot. That will make our life, if not easier, a little bit more orderly. Dinosaur, awesome. Hit OK. You had that little thing pop up there that said detect camera. You may or may not see that. And now I have here this window that says the name of my camera, name of the session, what the shutter speed, aperture, ISO, white balance, and then develop settings right there it says none. So if I look at the top of my actual camera, where are we? There we are. Hello, friend. Yeah. You can see that it also says 320th of a second at f2.8 and ISO 400. Those, I think it's safe to say, are some stupid settings, and I don't think they will give me a good picture. So I can go ahead and try it out. Right now you'll see that I got, and this is something you will also run into, this thing saying, hey, detecting camera, can't find it. That is most likely because either something has turned off, something has like a cord or a plug or something is wonky. When that happens, you are probably going to have to turn your camera off, turn it back on again, right? Classic computer shit. And then go back in and start tethered capture again. It will retain all of that information. And boom, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and take a picture with those settings. Take a picture, comes in automatically. Wasn't autofocus, let's at least do that. Thank you. And you can see that, well, it's not as terrible as it could be, to be totally honest. But it's not great, right? I would like to change some of these things. I would like to drop the shutter speed. There's no reason it needs to be a 320th of a second. So we'll drop it down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2 stops. I'm going to close that up 1 stop, 2.8 to 4. See if that's a little better. Okay, that's coming in a little bit brighter, seems reasonable. I think it's now time I can go ahead and plug it into my still life one. And I'll have to go through and change my settings again. But you can see that as I change my aperture, shutter speed, and ISO here on the computer screen, the same change is reflected in the camera. I can change my white balance from tungsten to daylight, take a picture. I can actually take a picture just by clicking this button down there, right? So you see me, I'm not touching the shutter button. Oh, damn! Clicked it on the screen and it took the picture, right? Now you can see that my white balance is wrong. That's great. So again, all the things that I need to control from here as far as settings, I can control from the camera. That means I can put my camera wherever the hell I want. I don't need access to it. I can't focus right now with this. So I would need to focus manually, but again, my camera's locked down, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not shooting things that are jumping around necessarily. So locking it down is great. That makes life easier. I can also go in here and zoom in, right, see what it looks like, change what the settings are, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I'm going to go lock it down on a tripod and take a picture of some dinosaurs.